What's the most awkward thing that's happened at a sleepover? Our entire friend group and my poor friend Baxter, that seems like a fun name, watched as my science teacher got a BJ from Baxter's single mom in a hot tub from the window. We were 13. There are some things you can't unsee. Your mommy sure does care about your schooling, son. About 11 years ago, sleepover with girls and boys. All lights are out for about 10 minutes. We have all settled down and gotten silent for sleeping. Then we hear a grown male voice clearly enunciate the word "what?" Now, let me be clear. This was not a child's voice. This was like hearing James Earl Jones say "what?" There was about a 10-second silence and then one of the girls says, "Who said that?" Silence. Then one of the boys starts laughing uncontrollably. We turn the lights on and he is laughing so hard that he's crying. Here we are all freaking out about some strange man in our room while we sleep and he's pissing himself laughing. He finally calms down enough to tell us that it wasn't a person who asked what. He farted the word. His fart sounded exactly like the word "what." We all cracked up. To this day everyone from that party still answers phone calls from each other with "what?" Was he able to ever replicate it, or was that the best moment of his life? When I was 6 I watched Jurassic Park at a friend's house one night. Got so scared I demanded my mum to come pick me up and take me home. So I said I was sick. My mother did not believe me. So I shit my pants in my friend's living room on accident so she would have to come get me. I didn't really go over to my friend's house that much after that. Fear can make a child crazy, especially fear of velociraptors. Damn. You purposefully shit your pants so your mom would come get you? You play to win, don't you? Does a boys' trip count? Well, if it does, here it goes. I was in BS in an inner city area. The older kids were dicks. Well, my first weekend trip my dad loaded me UOM goodies to share. I fell asleep and the older kids raided my bag and took just about everything. So it sucked, but whatever. I go home and tell my dad and he was pissed but really composed. Which was odd for my Irish longshoreman dad. So next month is my next trip and my dad made a big batch of brownies but told me not to eat any or share with my friends. He told me leave them in my bag like I did last time. Sure enough, I woke up and they were gone. And 3 kids were shitting themselves like crazy. Yup, my pops slacked the brownies. He showed up that same morning to the campsite with another goodie bag for me to share. Never HQ'd my bag reddit again. I was out camping with a neighbor friend of mine when we were 14. I woke up hearing the shuffle of her sleeping bag. I asked her what she was doing and without breaking a stride she said that she was warming herself up. Then I turned on the lamp and found her on top of her bag, naked and masturbating. She immediately stopped and pulled her sleeping bag up over herself and she turned out the lamp. We sat there in silence for about 3 minutes. Then I said, "You can finish if you wanna." "No. You ruined it." We didn't speak much the rest of the trip. You gave her the opportunity to finish. At least. A true friend. I once slept over at a friend's house. He was a bit older than me. This difference was where he had discovered masturbation, whereas I had not. Anyway, I heard his bed furiously rocking back and forth. I asked him what he was doing. He said he was doing push-ups. It was dark so I took him for his word. So then I asked if I could do push-ups with him. Years later it all dawned on me. You had no reason to doubt the man was getting swole in the middle of the night. In about grade 7, I had a sleepover with a few friends. One of them started crying when we started watching The Simpsons because he wasn't allowed to watch it at home. We couldn't calm him down for almost an hour. Real life Rod, Todd. Time for some nachos, Flanders style. That's cucumbers with cottage cheese. Anyone for Scrabble? Only God can make words. Back when I used to pee the bed in 3rd grade, I fell asleep in my friend's bed during a sleepover at his house. I pissed the bed. It was awkward, and I never stayed the night at his house again. But what was most awkward was that when I woke up, he was sitting in a chair staring at me, waiting for me to wake up. You know what you did, waiting to rub your nose in it. Finally invited to a sleepover at a popular girl's house. Started my period and bled all over my PJs, which I borrowed from her. and her sheets. This same thing happened to me. In 9th grade I went to a friend from middle school's birthday. I didn't realize my period was supposed to start and bled all over their nice fancy couch-like chair. I tried to help clean up, but everyone was making fun of me, so I just called my dad, told him what happened and left. Edit. I wanted to thank everyone for all the support. I wish I had known all about Reddit 5 years ago. Would have helped me through a lot of stuff as a young teen. This happened to me too, except it wasn't the popular girl's house and her mother yelled at me for waking her up. The tampons were in her private bathroom and she was fuming when her daughter tried to sneak in to grab one for me. I had almost forgot about that humiliation. Thanks. The day after the sleepover, my friend wouldn't let me leave no matter what I did. Around 6 p.m. his dad finally said I should probably go home. Friend burst into tears, threw himself to the floor and was begging his dad to make me stay. There's nothing worse than being a kid at the house the next day wanting so badly to go home, or having another kid at your house that you want to go home but they won't leave. My mum and I had a code word or phrase that I would use if I wanted to go home, but my friend was listening to the phone call. Me, Susie wants to know if I can stay longer. My mum, well, do you want to stay? Me, oh my gosh, the dog peed in my room. And then she would politely tell the parents that I couldn't stay anymore. When I was 12, my friend Peter had a disco-themed birthday party. No, I don't know why, at his house. The party being on a Friday, we all stayed the night. Being preteen boys with limitless cola, we ended up staying up all night, and decided to watch the sunrise on his back deck. As we're looking at the majestic, slowly lightening sky, our peaceful moment is shattered by a shrill, screaming voice. Looking to the source of the sound, we see his fat, topless, 50-plus-year-old neighbor lady yelling through her kitchen window that we're degenerate perverts. She was under the impression we were all staring at her. Once the yelling started, we couldn't really help it, and that horrible image will be forever burned into my mind. I'm 29 now. Of course she thought that. You can't handle these lumps. I was about 10, sleeping over with a group of pals, including my buddy's little brother who was around 6. We finished up a few rousing games of Donkey Kong 64 and Hydro Thunder and all went to bed. Woke up to find the little brother, standing ominously above me, butt-ass naked except for a pair of Christmas-themed tube socks on his hands and arms, and peeing into my half-open sleeping bag. No more sleepovers at Ryan's house. Guess you played 2 different kinds of Hydro Thunder that night. Not really a sleepover. I was 23 at the time and drove to California to stay on a buddy's couch. I drank a bunch of beer after the long drive and passed out. Woke up having pissed myself on his couch. It is about 5 a.m. I grab a towel and lay on it on the couch, resigning myself to being the guy who pissed on the couch for the duration of my stay. By some miracle the towel absorbed most of it. Him and his roommates woke up around 9 a.m. and nobody knew a thing. Edit, except his cat. His cat knew. Please tell me his cat was not named Towel. Kill the cat Holback. My friend in high school had the house where all of our friends would play Smash Brothers tournaments until our eyes bled, then go to sleep in his massive RV parked outside. I wasn't, and still am not, a morning person, so I'd usually be the last one out of the RV. One night, I fall asleep on the pull-out bed in my jeans and all, with just a blanket covering me. As I wake up, I'm still in that half-awake, half-asleep haze, and I feel something rustling in my nether regions. I figure it's just morning wood, and go back to sleep. Then it happens. I feel it again, wake up for real this time, and my dick is outside of my zipper. Pants still on, blanket still covering, and as I look over, my friend is laying next to me, he and I being the only two in the RV, staring directly at the ceiling. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, and prayed he didn't just pull my penis out of my pants while I was asleep, so I packed up and headed home. Lo and behold, an hour later I get a text saying he was so sorry, He didn't know what he was thinking. Yeah man, you pulled my dick out of my pants while I was sleeping. I'm gonna need a little space. TL doctor, my penis beauty rest was disturbed. Update, I've lost contact over the years after he went to a different college. But he's now in a happy relationship after he came out a year or two ago. The worst part of this story is until my girlfriend and I met, he was the only one, besides me, to have fondled my twig and berries. My friends were ruthless with those jokes. Staring at the ceiling fixes all problems.